Hey folks, welcome back for another build video where we're using the collector chest piece and trying to figure out what exactly we're supposed to be doing with it. So if you're watching this video, you've probably gotten your hands on the collector chest piece and you're trying to figure out how exactly this talent is supposed to work in a build. Because the talent itself obviously lends itself to a grenade-centric build, given the increased grenade capacity, grenade radius, and grenade damage that the talent offers. But then looking at the attributes themselves, you see a much more crit-focused suggestion with a weapon core, crit hit chance, and crit hit damage in the secondary attribute slots. And of course, because this is an exotic chest piece, it precludes the use of the Mad Bomber talent, which is obviously a favorite of ours when you're using a grenade-focused build, given that it allows you to cook grenades, which is particularly important when you're playing on higher difficulties, as elite and named enemies will often dive out of the way of grenades that have not been pre-cooked. So if you can't really put together a grenade-focused build for higher level difficulties with this chest piece, I thought, let's not even try. And let's instead build around the collector chest piece and the new named backpack, the Backbone, which sports the perfectly unstoppable force talent, where killing an enemy increases total weapon damage by 7% for 15 seconds and stacks up to 5 times, and very crucially there, grenade kills add 2 stacks. On top of that, we've also included the lefty shotgun, with the perfect sledgehammer talent. Dealing damage with the grenade marks an enemy. Targets with a mark will take 40% more damage to armor and have a minus 30% movement speed debuff, and marks will remain for 10 seconds. So as you can already imagine, and as you'll see later in the video, the idea behind this build is to run in, throw your grenades out, damage as many enemies as possible with the lefty shotgun equipped to proc perfect sledgehammer, and then you can switch to your primary weapon here, which we have as the s.r.o engine, and then take everybody down with the increased weapon damage provided by the perfectly unstoppable force talent on our backpack. So off the top here, for our specialization, we've gone with the firewall, primarily to unlock the cluster grenade projectile, which, while it doesn't have the highest overall damage, nor does it have the highest overall single radius, what it does have is the ability to launch mini grenades, which also now have an increased radius thanks to our collector chest piece, which again, as you'll see later in the video, has an absolutely massive overall radius when you include all of the mini grenades launched by your cluster grenade. And again, keep in mind here, to proc perfect sledgehammer, all you have to do is damage an enemy with a grenade, so you're not too concerned about killing them. But to help increase the chances of being able to kill them, you're going to benefit from a plus 50% grenade radius here on your chest piece, which will in turn increase the number of extra enemies caught in the blast radius, which of course increases your grenade damage by plus 25% for every additional enemy caught within the blast. So after you've run in and procced perfect sledgehammer with the lefty shotgun, you can go ahead and swap to your primary weapon here, which is the s.r.o engine. We have damage to target auto cover in that secondary attribute slot, and then we have the Actum Est talent down here. Shooting an enemy with this weapon will give 1 stack, and at 100 stacks, the next magazine will be filled with shock ammo. And of course, on top of that, we have all the lovely mods from the s.r.o engine, plus 20% critical hit damage, plus 30 rounds, plus 20% weapon handling, and plus 20% critical hit chance. Another option here would obviously be stage left if you don't want to go with the lefty shotgun, as of course this rifle sports the exact same perfect sledgehammer talent. And for our sidearm, we've gone with the named Firestarter, which is exclusive of course to the firewall specialization, primarily for the primer rounds talent there. For whenever you whip out the flamethrower, you can increase the damage they take thanks to this specific talent. For a mask, we've gone with one of 2 pieces of Grupo Sombra SA here. The first piece giving us a plus 15% critical hit damage bonus, which of course leans into the crit hit build that we're going with here, because as you can see down there, on top of the weapon damage core in the core attribute slot, we have secondary attributes of both critical hit chance and critical hit damage. And then again, we've gone with critical hit damage in our mod slot. For a backpack, we have gone with the aforementioned Backbone, which is the named backpack from the new Langmo brand set. The one piece bonus here is plus 20% explosive resistance, which while it doesn't directly benefit our build, some general explosive resistance isn't a bad thing to have either. Because of course what we're really going for here is the perfectly unstoppable force talent, with that perfect specific paragraph of grenade kills adding 2 stacks of unstoppable force. So for every grenade kill that you get, you're going to get an additional 14% weapon damage for 15 seconds. And of course, on top of that, we have critical hit damage and critical hit chance in the secondary attribute slots, and then another mod of critical hit damage. And of course, for our chest piece, we have the collector. We've talked about it at length already, but I will go ahead and read out the talent specifically. You get an additional 3 grenades to your overall capacity, a plus 50% grenade radius, 35% base grenade damage increase, and then you also get an additional 25% grenade damage for every extra enemy caught in the blast. And then you also automatically regenerate a grenade every 30 seconds if you have less than 2 grenades in your inventory. For our gloves, we have our first of 2 pieces of Brazos to Arquebus here, the 1 piece bonus giving us plus 10% skill haste. And as on previous builds, we have rerolled that core attribute from armor to a weapon damage core. And then of course we have secondary attributes of crit hit damage and crit hit chance again here. And then for our holster, we have our second and more important piece of Brazos to Arquebus, the named Picaro's holster, core attribute of armor, secondary attribute of critical hit chance, and then the unique secondary attribute of a plus 15% weapon damage core there. And then for our Kneepads, we have our last piece of Grupo Sombra SA, giving us the plus 15% explosives damage bonus. And then again here we have a weapon damage core, critical hit damage, and critical hit chance in our secondary attribute slots. For our skills, we've gone with the Cluster Seeker Mine and the Striker Ballistic Shield. So my general strategy here is to pull out the Striker Ballistic Shield at the beginning of an encounter, chuck those grenades out with the lefty shotgun equipped to proc Perfect Sledgehammer, and then once those enemies are slowed down and unable to run away, I'll go ahead and use the Cluster Seeker Mines to help clean everybody up, and then chuck an additional grenade to finish off anyone who isn't already down. The Cluster Seeker Mines here are much more of a preferential pick. I obviously would recommend using the Firewall specific Striker Ballistic Shield here, as thanks to the 2 armor cores and the skill tier provided by 2 pieces of Brazos to Arquebus, we do have a tier 3 shield here. And then of course on top of that, the Firewall specific variant of this shield gives us a damage bonus to any enemy in front of the shield. So a bit of a quicker one today, but that is the build that we have put together for the new Collector Exotic chest piece. Personally, we had a lot of fun putting this one together because between the crit hit attributes and the hoarder talent, this one is a bit of an oddball, but I think that's why I love it even more. Together with 2 pieces of Grupo Sombra and the perfectly unstoppable force talent, once you get this all working together, you can absolutely roll through enemies. So again, once you put this one together, let us know what you think of in the comments below. Let us know if you've thought of a different build to use for the collector. We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching. Please like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, and tell your friends about the channel to help us grow and continue making videos like this. Until then, see you in the next one.
Just take a look at this fucking city. There's nothing to feel patriotic about. Start thinking about what you want to get out of this. Look at what we've accomplished. For years we were considered degenerates, men in society. But look where we are now. This is our city, and we're not letting anyone take it away from us. We are kings access key detected. New jungle.
Progress resumed. less than an inch the whole winter, which is basically no snow.